Let's start it off with Governor Sununu, who joins us now from his home state of New Hampshire. Welcome back to the show, Governor. So it's good to see you. I think that just a big picture kind of view right off the top. I mean, you know, if you woke up and just looked at the polling and the data, no context, you'd say coin flip race. It could not be closer. But I think if you're watching it second by second, like all of us are, maybe you feel like Trump has the advantage because he's had the momentum for the last few weeks. How do you see it a couple weeks out?
Yeah, look, there's no doubt political momentum is a real thing. Trends matter. We're going into the final 2 weeks, and both these candidates have to give people something to vote for, right? Right now, there's a lot of, well, I'm going to hold my nose and vote for this one or that one because nobody really likes the candidates for various reasons. So there is an opportunity to finish on a positive note, but that stuff matters in terms of those trends. And there's no doubt that the Harris campaign has not handled these last 3 weeks very well. I mean, look, just the simple fact that when asked, what are you going to do different than Biden? And she says something like, well, nothing comes to mind. That's a real damning statement from someone who's trying to be an agent of change for people's lives. I'm not going to change anything. She said it herself. That's not pundits. That's not the media. She said it herself. And so things like that have really frozen her campaign, if anything. And as folks harp on the negativity of Trump, that's not helping her either. It's not. People know all the outrageous things that surround Trump and his outrageous statements. That's all baked in. So I think the Harris campaign is kind of blowing the opportunity. At this point, I think it's Trump's race to lose.
Well, she's been out there campaigning, as you know, with Republicans like Liz Cheney trying to get middle-of-the-road type of voters and trying to convince people that Trump's not fit for office. You mentioned the negative stories. I mean, there are new ones out. I mean, the John Kelly comments. This is former chief of staff of the White House saying he meets the definition of a fascist, right? And saying it literally on tape. There's audio of it. Let me play that clip real quick. Here it is.
Certainly, the former president is in the far right area. He's certainly an authoritarian, admires people who are dictators. He has said that. So he certainly falls into the general definition of fascist, for sure.
Now, why wouldn't something like that, Governor, move the needle at all?
Do you think half of America is voting for a fascist? No, it's just an outrageous statement. Look, I respect John Kelly a lot, but obviously everyone knows there's a huge personal relationship divide. Just like Liz Cheney, it's a personal issue with them. Like she spent, as conservative as she is, you know, it's a personal issue that she said she was going to, quote unquote, bring him down and all that sort of thing. Those types of statements are a bit outrageous. They don't really move the needle. What moves the needle is who's going to make my life better. It's that simple. They're not talking about tariffs. They're talking about the cost of living. They're not talking about just an open border. They're talking about drugs and mental health and things that are impacting them on a ground level, like in their community. So whoever that agent of change is, that's what moves the needle at this point. There's been years and years and years of outrageous statements about Donald Trump. Some valid, some not. Obviously, he's a unique character unto himself. But the idea that people are going to say, oh, wait, he's a fascist, I can't vote. No, that's just really outrageous.
Well, it comes from a retired four-star general in the Marine Corps, and it's followed up by similar comments made by the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Milley, who served under him. Same thing. And again, you don't think people in the middle of the road look at that?
Again, I'm sorry, General Milley is no example. The General Milley, the same general that has fundamentally changed our military, that has changed our standards in the military, that has made everything woke, that's exactly the cultural change that independents, Republicans, and conservative Democrats want to change. So, again, not a great example of individuals. A few people's statements don't define where the electorate's going to go. You want to know where people are going to go? You got to go talk to them. And I talk to these folks all the time, right? And the fact that Trump is leading now by half a point to a point or even 2 points in some of these swing states, that number is probably more like 2 or 3 points because Republicans and libertarian leaning voters that will likely vote for Trump, they don't answer the polls, right? Polls are massively more inaccurate than they ever have been. Places like Wisconsin, especially Michigan a little bit. Georgia, they're okay. But for the most part, I think there's just going to be all that momentum is on Trump's side. If he can just keep doing those retail stops, keep showing a little of his humanity, if you will, right? I mean, the McDonald's thing, the liberal media freaked out about it because it was so real. It was fun. He was down there with people doing something kind of natural and normal. That connects with folks and makes people realize, hey, you know, this can be an agent of change. Maybe all these outrageous things we hear about him aren't real, and that drives people to the polls.
Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.